Hello, my name is Jim Toot, and I'm an Associate Professor of Political Science at Central Virginia Community College. In this video, we'll discuss foreign and national security policies. Part 1. The Executive Branch makes foreign and military policies. Formal powers specified in the Constitution put the President at the center of foreign policy. They include being Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, negotiating treaties, and appointing ambassadors. The President is also the spokesperson for and to the nation. Notable presidential addresses have been made by Franklin D. Roosevelt after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, and by George W. Bush following the 9/11 attacks. Foremost among the president's foreign policy advisors is the National Security Advisor. Issues the advisor faces include how to serve and protect the president's interests and how to deal with other makers of foreign and defense policy in the government. Some national security advisors have built a large staff to help them formulate options and oversee policy implementation. They have been vocal in espousing and expressing their views. The National Security Advisor is often in competition with the Secretary of State for influence in the administration. Some national security advisors try to be neutral facilitators in policy debates between the head of the major foreign policy bureaucracies. They are not always successful. The trend in recent administrations has been to select knowledgeable and low-key individuals who can provide the president with expert advice, but not invite or engage in running conflicts with other foreign policy bureaucracies. Led by the National Security Advisor, the National Security Council's Principals Committee consists of the president's senior security advisors, relevant cabinet members, and military and intelligence advisors, established to ensure consensus on and coordinate the policies among government agencies. It's not easy to avoid internecine warfare among participants and discourage the Secretaries of State and Defense and the Vice President, as well as the special envoys to trouble spots, from communicating to the President unilaterally to influence and make policy. The State Department is the oldest cabinet-level department. It has the primary responsibility for managing the foreign affairs, budget, and resources, leading and coordinating other U.S. agencies in developing and implementing foreign policy, leading and coordinating U.S. representation abroad, and negotiating with foreign countries. Within the United States, the National Security Advisor has often eclipsed the Secretary of State and the State Department as principal source of policy ideas. The Defense Department has long been a competitor in national security policy, and the U.S. Special Trade Representative provides an alternative source of economic advice for the President. Abroad, the ambassador's authority in the United States Embassy is often resisted by personnel assigned to it by other agencies, such as those responsible for spying. The State Department's lead position in foreign affairs has also been compromised by congressional reluctance to pass foreign affairs appropriations, restrictions it imposes on how the funds can be spent, and micromanaging of foreign affairs budget. Congress also requires the State Department annually to certify countries as meeting targets on human rights, arms control, reducing drug trafficking, and other areas in order to remain eligible for foreign aid. For most of its history, the military department was organized under separate commands of the War Department and Navy Department. No political or military authority other than the President existed above these departments to coordinate and direct them. This changed after World War II when the 1947 National Security Act established the cabinet rank position of the Secretary of Defense. In 1949, an amendment to the 1947 National Security Act established the Defense Department and the post of the Chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The twin concerns for efficiency and cost have been combined with three debates over the ability of the United States to fight wars today. Debate between defense hawks, who want increased defense spending to ensure U.S. security, and deficit hawks. Debate over military readiness. And debate over the impact of modern technology on how the United States organizes, prepares for, and fights wars. The Central Intelligence Agency was created by the National Security Act of 1947. Its main task was to correlate, evaluate, and disseminate intelligence. It was not explicitly authorized to engage in covert action or to collect its own information. Both of these tasks, however, quickly became part of its mission. The CIA's Directorate for Operation engages in covert operations. By the 1970s, the cumulative effect of the 2 decades of covert action and the news stories about them produced a media and thus public image of the CIA as a rogue elephant that was out of control. Congress then created two special committees, one in each chamber, to oversee intelligence. It also insisted that covert actions be accompanied by an explicit presidential finding that the covert actions are in the national interest. Other intelligence agencies: the State Department Bureau of Intelligence and Research, the agencies of the military services, the National Security Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and the Department of Homeland Security. After the 9/11 terrorist attack, the CIA intelligence estimating abilities and procedures came into question. Of concern was the absence of clandestine collection capable of in many parts of the world that harbor anti-American terrorist movements or possess weapons of mass destruction. Also questioned was the CIA's lack of cooperation with the FBI and other intelligence agencies. Perhaps the most devastating was the finding of the 9/11 Commission that investigated the terrorist attacks. A failure of imagination kept the intelligence agencies from anticipating and thwarting the attacks. In response to the intelligence failures, Congress passed and President Bush signed legislation creating a Director of National Intelligence in December 2004. The DNI was to be the President's chief intelligence advisor with substantial control over the government's intelligence budget of approximately $40 billion. The DNI would be the overall leader of 15 independent and rival agencies. The CIA director now reports to the DNI. In practice, the power of the intelligence job depends on the director's relationship with the President. The newest part of the foreign policy bureaucracy was conceived in response to the 9/11 attacks and became effective in late 2002. The Department of Homeland Security combines activities from 22 different federal agencies with a total workforce of 170,000 employees. Agencies incorporated in the department include Immigration and Naturalization Service, the Secret Service, Customs Service, Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, the Coast Guard, Border Patrol. Some observers are concerned that the combination of foreign policy and domestic missions in the same department limits its effectiveness. That is, capacities to meet the challenges posed by earthquakes, floods, blackouts, and storms, tasks that are central to FEMA's missions, have been underdeveloped as more resources and attention are given to fighting terrorism, or that the need to respond to these catastrophes will divert attention away from fighting terrorism. The U.S. Trade Representative is the title given to both an agency located within the Executive Office of the President and to the individual who heads the agency. Congress created the office in 1962 largely out of frustration with the State Department's handling of international trade. It felt that the U.S. State Department was too concerned with the policy positions of foreign states and